Okay, I believe I am alive. Yep. All right. Thank you all for attending. I hope everybody's all well out there and all fine and all. I'm going to do some more teaching on the Dharma. And the subject today is the effect of the Dharma, the process of the Dharma, what happens when the Dharma is manifesting in the world, and how does that have an effect on the planet? Yeah, because we're on a planet that basically is ran under the influence over many, many, many years under the theory of capitalism. You know, whether you're in Russia or you're in China or Japan or America, it is strongly capitalism. To give you an essence of idea of what capitalism is, consider that there's a family that owns a business, yeah, and they're a family, yeah, and they hire 5 or 6 other people because the business begins to grow. And if in that family everybody is equal owners of this business, yeah, and then when you hire someone, you put them on the board of directors in that business, no matter who it is. I don't care if it's the person who cleans the toilet, or the person who sweeps up, or the bookkeeper, or the greatest of your workers that is so efficient in quality and everything. Yeah, but each one needs to be in an equal state according to what they do. And ownership is divided equally in that process. And this isn't capitalism, this isn't communism, it's common sense. Yeah, it's what happens if the Lord was to, if there's only 11 people on the planet, you know, and we all had to decide what we should do, you know, would we actually fight each other and fight for this and that? And, you know, our influence of being able to do what is normal inside of us, and yet we're in masses and masses of people. We have billions of people in China, yeah. We have 350 million people in America, yeah. And these are masses of people, yeah. And how do you pay for their work? How do you get them to understand that their value, or if they make something, you know, what goes on? What goes on? Does people, you go around and you find people are slaves, you know, people are subservient slaves, people are slaves to the culture of capitalism, and they don't know that they're slaves to they're indentured slaves. They're indentured slaves to the credit card, to your bank, to your mortgage company. You're an indentured slave. Yeah, and how well do you cope with that? Yeah, well, it depends on how much money you got coming in. You know, because in this world, it's in a world where capitalism exists, profit is what it's about. It's about profit. Yeah. So that profit's not going to go to the worker, but profit is what you're working for. Yeah. And that influence of profit, you know, that goes through life just as it is. I don't care if you're paying for gas or if you're paying for this and that. A great deal of it, you know, actually goes off to very small numbers of people who are capitalizing on you and made laws. And the reason why it's so little that you get is because capitalism goes into your politics. It goes into your I'm Republican or I'm Democrat or, you know, or I'm whatever you are, you know. But it goes into the political process of what's going on. Yeah, and you don't have the ability to be in a just reality. Yeah, a justice reality. Yeah, one that when, you know, if everything was perfect, you know, just perfect, yeah, then things would be shared in a way in which we feel and sense prosperity is happening because we're all working. 9/10 of us, yeah, are working, you know, and unemployment goes up and down, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of people working. There's unemployment and employment, and all of that is based on workers, massively, yeah. So all of this stuff around us getting anything done, you know, in our business, yeah, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a business. It's the fact that it capitalizes on those people who are producing, and then they're cut off from what the value is of this object to when it goes out the door and the money that's being made. And you know, you don't even know stock. You're not even involved in the process of buying stock or shares or anything like that. You get a salary or you get an hourly wage. You know, it buys you off. Yeah, because we're in a state of capitalism. When you're in capitalism, you do what you do, and you get paid for what little you get paid. Yeah, and it's so unjust. It's made manifest, so unjust, that it creates just an energetic field. Yeah, we don't really recognize it. We can't really see it. You know, we put together, groups that, you know, we have a big industry like, you know, Walmart or something insane like Amazon, you know, or you have a smaller one but still insane like Elon Musk. And in our days, we're actually seeing these things come about and go into manifestation. We're not sitting back not knowing what's going on in Ford. We don't know what goes on in Ford. We don't know. You know, sure, they sell all the cars in the world, you know, but we don't know what goes on there. You know, we work at a steel plant, or, you know, we work at the manufacturing plant at Ford, you know, and this and that, but we still don't know. We have no idea about all the economy and all the money and everything that's made, the bazillions of dollars that are being made in capitalizing, not in what we give a definition to for capitalism. We think capitalism has to do with economy, our economy. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with our economy. It has to do with what it says you're being capitalized on. Yeah, and it's in such a way, you know, that if you leave this country, you know, it's a shock. Yeah, because here we're so capitalized that when we work someplace, you know, we don't get real benefits. We don't get health benefits, you know. We don't get insurance, you know. We don't get benefits that'll take care of us when we retire. You know, we don't have benefits that gives us a month off, paid benefits, paid leave, you know. We don't get paid leave when we're pregnant and we're women, you know. We don't even get off where we're guaranteed we get our job back. We don't even get that. You take a chance, and they take a chance with you, because, you know, this is not right. It's not right. You go to other countries and you find that it's put in the system automatically for if you're born, yeah, you go to school, you go to college, you get degrees all the way to the top. You just apply. You just need to be qualified. That's all. Just need to be. Go to Germany, you'll get the best education in the world, you know. And we won't want to think that. We don't want to go, oh, you know, Germany had Hitler, you know. And, you know, who cares what they had in the past? It's what they're doing today. And that's 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years ago. The process of the culture at that time. We're in a different world, you know. But the United States has not changed. The United States is full bore 100% on to capitalism. Yeah? And capitalism will destroy democracy. And you don't know it. Yeah? You want to be a democratic country and all that, you know, and then you go to China and they go, we don't like Democrats, we want to be communists. As though, you know, we're going to define Democrats as this and communists as that. And there's like, you know, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. It's doing the right thing from the bottom up, not from the top down. Not where you pay your taxes, and then you work your ass off and you don't get any benefits whatsoever. Yeah. And the money that you're going to get, like if you go to Sweden or the Netherlands and Norway, anywhere around there, walk into a McDonald's and ask for a job application. Yeah. And you're going to look at that and go, $18 an hour starting pay? Really? Well, no, it changed. It's $20 now. We just haven't written it in. Yeah, and that's true. It's $20 an hour now, and it was just 18 not long ago. It's gone up that far. And that includes 1 month paid vacation. Yeah. Hospital, insurance, maternity leave, and you're just working at McDonald's. You're just working at McDonald's. Over here, our capitalistic people lie to us and tell us we can't afford that. You're just working at McDonald's. Your value is $6.50. Where it's obviously I'm joking. It's more than that, but that's the point. It shouldn't be less than $20. It shouldn't be, And in this world today, with the cost of everything, it really shouldn't be, And that's where everybody, if we see each other as brothers and sisters, if we think there has to be a point of empathy and consciousness and cultural identification as brothers and sisters, to where we go, okay, look, if I don't do this, you're going to end up on the street. If I don't do this, it will just be in your mind. You will realize by not passing that law, by not allowing a person to go on to school and be educated as far as they want in any position they want to go into, if that's not benefiting society, I don't know what is. That's where you put your money, is in people. Not taxes. Not in making money or capitalizing on people. You capitalize on people if you say, okay, you're 12th grade and you graduated, now you got to go to college. Now we're going to start an industry of business making tons of millions and billions of dollars on these poor little children after they graduate out of high school. Who is that? Who thought that one up? Yeah. We have to stop at that point. We can't just go, that's wrong. No, we have to not have that at all. If you can go to this place and see children and watch children grow, and we allow them to go to school, yeah? But the schools we send them to suck. We don't put any money in them. They're not having any infrastructure. They don't have any proper teaching processes where the teacher is paid a lot and they get all this time off and they're benefited, because in other countries, a teacher is one of the highest paid jobs. Can you imagine that? Paid usually more than a doctor. Yeah. But yet this isn't a conspiracy, people. It's not. Sooner or later, we will move in this direction because it's the evolution of humanity. We need to look around at our other brothers and sisters and stop thinking of them as Germans and French and English and people who are, capitalist or communist or whatever way you want to think. You got to stop that. We're brothers and sisters. We're brothers and sisters on a rock, And we're so blessed because it has an ocean, it has lakes, it has trees, it has everything for us to have a great day, to have a wonderful time, to have a wonderful life. We have to get rid of capitalism, the mental state that conceives of greed and allows for so much corruption to take place to support it, for it to be supported. If it wasn't supported, it wouldn't last 10 years. Wouldn't last 10 years. And this evolution, In a society of today, with the wise minds of mankind, nah, that's why Germany is the way it is. That's why Norway is the way it is. That's why many countries are the way they are. Because we're just human beings, two people, man and woman, that's it. And if you look around and you see us as a whole, not as individual cultures or individual, countries or anything like that, no separation whatsoever. See us as a whole, as brothers and sisters. And there's some of us who are wiser and have collectively joined together and done the right thing and let go of the wrong thing and move toward the right thing. Yeah. And there are people benefiting beyond belief. And we're all going to be in this position. It's not about whether or not we're Republican or a Democrat. We have to get rid of that. We really do. We have to be a person who is an American. Yeah? And if we're in Germany, we're a person who's German. And we're proud of it. Because they pay for our schools. They do good by us. It's good to be a German. It's good to be an American. It's good to be a Canadian. It's good to be a European. It's good to be all these different countries because we are of that country. Most times we reincarnate in the same country. We reincarnate with the same family members and the same relatives and the same connections. You see this in Tibetan Buddhism if you study it. If you go to India and you start looking for reincarnation, you'll find people that reincarnate just village away. And they're troubled by it, My wife is just down the road. I saw one of my kids the other day. Yeah, that poor little boy or girl is only 5 years old and having deja vu. And then sees the person, and it's just, that's why we do reincarnate like that. We reincarnate in groups. We don't reincarnate to make sure we're with our mom or our dad or anything like that. But we try and learn to love each other because we're a family. And we connect in goodness, to where we attract ourselves back into relationships that will further our lives in our next life. And it doesn't take a lot of people, If you become a movie star and stuff like that, you'll probably never get to know anybody. Hardly get to know yourself. Your life will be ruined. But if it's your family, if it's your cousins, if it's your people you got to know and you become friends with and you grow old with and you die, you live a long life with these people, those are likely the people you're going to reincarnate with. And that happens in Tibet. It happens in India. So it's a law. It's a standard law. It's how simple things really are. And imagine if we govern ourselves in the way God governs us. Life would be really interesting. Really super interesting. But first of all, we got to get rid of corruption. We don't really know corruption is going on because we have such a 6 or 8 thing of fanaticism and fan base reality toward other people that, to get rid of that fan base reality, it's almost impossible, like Trump. He had about an 80% fan base reality, and that got him elected. And all he was just a person who was a famous guy on TV. And everybody just kept going, oh, he's, superstar, he's a rock star, he's like Elvis Presley with $1 billion, he's like super cool, doesn't everybody want to be like Trump? All the guys, all this kind of, that's in his mind. This is what he's thinking. These are his delusions of grandeur that he's blowing up, and in that process, he's really a liar, he's an antichrist, he's a deluded piece of shit. He's lying to people, he's stealing from people, and anybody who falls into his wake, is going to go down with him. Because in the end, he will go down. He will, without a doubt, he will go down. And the main reason why he'll go down is because capitalism doesn't exist. Doesn't really exist. Look around. It's not in Germany. It's not in the other parts. They're making money, but they've chosen not to be capitalist. Chosen not to be just plain ass, deep water capitalist. who don't care about children, don't care about women who are pregnant, and don't care about hospitalization, don't care about whether or not a person has money when they leave their job, don't care about a person when they retire, don't care about elderly people, don't care about people who are sick and can't do anything and live in their homes all alone. What kind of country is that? It shouldn't exist. Shouldn't exist. Because people are the country. We the people. We make these choices and we take care of everybody. And if we collect our money, we collect our governing power, and we make choices in these ways, it is an extraordinary outcome. Right now we just have small little countries like Germany and others that have turned over. Look, Germany was Hitler. Germany was a terrible scenario. And that was just 70 years ago. And since that time, it has completely turned around. Completely turned around. The people there are treated better than most people on Earth. The tax system, the social system, the way in, even the president, what a sweetheart. The whole of the process has changed dramatically. They're not the people they were. They're the integrated soul aspect of that country that are manifested, and that's brotherhood and sisterhood. They're not out fighting each other. They're not out being the worst person a German could be. They're being the best person a human could be. And that's all that's asked. Every country, we slowly but surely become humane. And humane means that we take care of our children. We take care of everybody. Our industry is the highest quality. Now look at German industry. You cannot get a better high quality of technique and skills in humanity anywhere. Even bookkeeping, research, mathematics, it's all in that area, whether it be Germany or Bulgaria or any of those areas around there. Masses of people reincarnate. We're not alone. We Americans come from there. So we should learn from our elders. And these countries that we look at, that we, as Americans, we just don't see it. We don't see it for what it is because we've been restricted by our capitalistic pigs. Bell and Howell and PG&E and all the big capitalists. All of them. The movie industry, Sony, MGM, all of it. Apple, you name it. It is a capitalism. I mean, it's not in the way you think capitalism. It is evil shit. Evil shit. It's making too much money. Too much money. That changes the economical balance of humanity. It's not about poor people having money. They should have money. Not about poor people having housing. They should have housing. That's all common sense. The problem is that we're making businesses that serve Satan. And that clouds our governing. It clouds every aspect of how we will govern. Satan controls governing. And you probably would never think of that. But where else would Satan put binding processes on us? And then tell us, do as you will. With laws that keep you from doing as you wish. Completely. Designed that way. And it's designed in a way to enhance more aggression in you. Here now you're either Republican or Democrat, You're over here with Uzis and machine guns and shooting up cars and blowing up all kinds of things because you're a Republican. That's the symbol of a Republican, Massive military grunt, male or female, bullies, because they're conservative. And to be conservative, you have to carry a big stick and a gun, and you have to beat back the weak. And the weak are the Democrats, because they're going to give in. They don't know how to hold back that dollar and hold on to it. Now, imagine that. Imagine that. You're a rich person, and you have in your mind, I'm only going to pay this person $2. And you're making $500 for the same work that person's doing. And that happens every day. What in their mind makes them do that? I don't care if it's an agreement. I don't care if it's a contract by law in the state of where you're from. Still, what in your mind makes you go ahead and do that? You just made $500. You hired someone to do it for you. And you give them $2, $5, $10, $10. Yeah? Maybe 20 if they spent a whole hour. Yeah? But you're making $500. Yeah? And there's no consciousness. There is corruption. The soul is corrupted. There are no morals. No ethics. Where's that coming from? You as a human being have morals and ethics. Go to Germany. Walk around. Walk into the finest college. They'll just ask, where have you graduated? What school have you gone to? Are you prepared for this? If not, then we recommend you go through these certain courses to prepare yourself, and and it'll all be free. We want to thank you very much for coming here. We know that it's a big burden on you to get an apartment or things like that, so we're going to give you $1,800 a month as stipend, because you're a human being. We want to thank you very much for being here. It's true. It's what they do. And it's not communism. There's no communism involved. None whatsoever. It's just, these are things you do. Oh, you need a school. Okay, well, we have a school. No, we don't charge. No, we don't charge for books. No, we don't charge for lab. No, we don't charge for computer. Yeah, we provide a computer. You get into the class, you'll get a computer. What? Yeah. And it's not that they're gazillionaires or anything. Yeah. Also, at the same time, same place is developing the highest technologies, the most advanced cars, industries that are wonderful. Everybody's employment is high. Jobs, they're making $40, $50, $60 an hour. Truly. And they can go and leave for a month and still have a job when they come back, and never in their heart think that some corrupt bastard's going to come in there and take my job, and some corrupt bastard going to let him do it. Yeah, because trust me, in this America, yeah, and you're just going to be not liking your brothers and sisters. Yeah, and that's where we're at. We don't trust anybody, and you really can't, because people, for whatever reason, we're like that guy who's getting $500, but we're only paying $2. We are by nature like that. We think that's a good idea. We do that with houses. We do that with anything. What we want to do is make money on something when we buy something. That's, people go, wow, what are you, Jewish or something? Yeah, that's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with a culture. It has nothing to do with a Judaism or anything like that. It's a part of a way of thinking, an automatic, responsive way of being capitalistic. There is a reason why the origin of capitalism comes out of the lower nature of a human being. And we have to not choose the lower nature. We have to not do it. Yeah. So with me here, I have a big ideology in relationship to those kind of choices. So I make those choices very strongly. And I impress the world with that choice as a brother of everybody and the Lord, So I'm impressing the corruption that's found in America. And in 2016, the impression of corruption that was everywhere, Enron, you name it. It was every week, every year. And now what we have is floods and fires and death and pestilence. Are we messing up? Are we getting judged? Yeah? Are we in a place of the most corrupt in the world? America? Yeah? Stealing from us, taking from us, being so corrupt that we have more corrupt people making phone calls to Americans that feel guilty about within their subconscious mind. And they go, oh, IRS is here to take all your money. We're here, but the cops were here to kill you. We're here to shoot you. You know, and freak people out thinking, oh, no, this is true. And it's just some Hindi guy scaring people in America, getting $1,000 over the phone because it costs too much to go to a lawyer. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. Hundreds, thousands of Americans are doing that every single year now. Yeah. Because we can't discern and discriminate. We don't know exactly what's going on because America has an aura of corruption. When your brotherhood and your sisterhood is fully corrupt, there's little inside of you that cannot be corrupt. It is a wild-ass ride. Yeah. If you're in Germany, yeah, if you're in another country where many things are treated totally differently, you would not have the violence. You would not have hanging over your head war. You would not have hanging over your head that you're going to have to join the largest military in existence. Because you're, in truth, you're corrupt. And you're corrupting the world. And it's not keeping it from war. Now, many of those European countries, they are totally free from all of that. Yeah? Because they're putting their faith into technology and humanity and ecology, and they understand the greenhouse effect. They understand the need for solar and wind generators. They have it going big time. They're not asking anybody if this is a right idea. They're doing this as a country. Each country is doing it all on their own. They're making these incredible decisions that are based on their humanity. And that country is going to benefit from it like nobody else because they did it early. And they all have electricity on the bad days. You know, when a lot of people don't have electricity. And the oil companies fall apart and die. And capitalism falls apart and die. That's the purpose of this right governing reality that comes from the soul. The integration of the soul and the personality and the world. Yeah, and the nations. You could see it in different countries. It's not happening here. But we have a possibility. We are in process. You can see it. It's in process. Yeah. So here we got 2016, we elected Mr. Trump. Yeah. And Mr. Trump had about an 80 to 90% rate of, level of acceptance. When it came down to a Republican, he was high, top of the GOP. Yeah. And then, even after Biden was elected as president, the evil, the corruption, the doubting mind, the lies that surrounded, the elected president kept him at a rate of about 35 to 40%. While Trump was still somewhere around 60 and 70%. But that has changed. That has changed. Yeah. Because people are finding out that this capitalistic world, which is a big thing, it affects us all, and we're putting all of our faith in the wrong direction. Yeah. In the wrong things. We need to put our faith in our fellow humanity. Yeah. That's where God's at. Yeah. That's how we serve God, is by serving our fellow humanity. And we can't do that by having, America the way it is, the way it presents itself. It has unemployment. You can't talk unemployment. You have to talk employment and the wage a person gets. You can't talk unemployment. You must speak about the wage, and that has to be the most important thing. And the wage depends on the company you're working for. If you can get into a multi-billion-dollar company, you're going to be a millionaire. It should be that way. Yeah? Or they should be not making that much money. And the profits, when the margin of profit that they set margin of profit, Elon Musk, all of them, set margin of profit. Now everything has to come under the margin of profit. Yeah. But that has nothing to do with everything that's involved in the process of the business. You have 12,000 people, maybe, in 5 manufacturing plants. Maybe. 12,000 people, that's a lot. But you have $15 billion being generated over the next 3 years. Yeah? How does that go out within the group? Or how does that go out within the nation? Because we're all here. We're all here. Yeah? And we're all here to benefit from what happens to us. Yeah? It's not about, oh, isn't he lucky? He gets $20 billion, because he invented that car. But he had to have 12,000 people make that car. 12,000 people. And those 12,000 people should have gotten the biggest benefit on the board with shares that are increased as your time goes on. And the price of the shares, you don't pay for them. You just get them. Yeah? And you're not in a union, but you should be treated as though you are, because you should be on the board. Not the people who are the stockholders on the board. And because it's profit-oriented, those are the areas that control things, not the people who are working. Yeah? And if you can't see what I'm saying, you can't see it, yeah? You will see it. Right now, you couldn't see Trump was evil. You couldn't see Trump was who he is. You couldn't see Trump was a liar. You couldn't see he wasn't a billionaire. You couldn't see that he was corrupting every single person he ever came across. Couldn't see it, because all of this, being an American and everything, is very, very veiling. Because we're proud to be an American, but are we? Yeah? How do we treat the blacks? How do we treat Mexicans? How do we treat people on the border? And it's their border. It's their border. It's their New Mexico. New Mexico means that used to be Mexico. California is spelled California in Mexican. Not an American. It's Mexico. Yeah? Arizona, it's Mexico. Texas, it's Mexico. Yeah? We need to be a little more friendly with the people. Yeah? Just because somehow we capitalized and made a deal and created this United States. Yeah? But we separate ourselves at the border. We separate ourselves at the border of Michigan and another state. Idaho and another state. Yeah, how's that possible? How's that possible? How is it we're not one nation, and we collectively pool all of everything we are in one nation, not just a federal tax, but a whole national budget that allows us education and allows us the ability to give people the greatest amount of income, because big businesses are in profit-sharing mode. If they want to do it in America, then they have to do it in a way that it shares with the people. Yeah? Not in a communist way. Not like you gotta be, just the average guy, and yet you're a billionaire, but you got to give all away your $1 billion. No, you can still be very, very rich and live whatever way you want and share that money in whatever way you want. But there has to be a fair share given to the people who are the employees. They're just benefited. I work for Tesla. I make more money than the average doctor. And that's okay. Because that will raise up all of the United States. Yeah? Yeah? And they will have no problem going, yeah, I think we should pay a tax that fulfills free college and get rid of Harvard. Yeah? Get rid of Stanford, get rid of Berkeley, and let them exist, but let them exist free. Yeah? Change the status to all teachers, to some of the highest paid people in our society. And the schools, the most advanced in every area that they're teaching in. And it keeps getting more advanced every year. The money, the advancements, the assistants. Teachers have assistants. Not in America. No teacher has an assistant. But you have to have an assistant. That's why moms and dads come in and become assistants. Yeah? That's why teachers go to the cheapest store to buy the paper and to buy the pencils and to buy the things in order to have them in class and make their class something they're proud of. You know, because they've got 10-year-old shit sitting around or passing around books that are 5 or 6 years old used. Yeah, that's America. That's America. Yeah. And Biden is doing what Biden could do to change infrastructure. It'll be about 5 years till we see the full amount of all of it coming together. But we're talking a lot of money under a list of things that need to be changed in this direction. Yeah. So let's say having people in the world that are corrupt, that are so common. It's so common. You know, you have the Kardashians, you have TV, you have movie stars, you have rock stars. It's just so common to see people just being rich. You know? So many people rich. So many basketball players, football players. Everybody's freaking rich. Yeah? And that's not good. It's not good. It creates a situation to where we idolize these people. Yeah? And when you do that, you'll idolize the devil in disguise. And when you're an idol worshiper, you know, which all people in America are, yeah, then we go to the Catholic Church and we worship the idols in the Catholic Church. Yeah? We worship the priest with his clothes and his collar and everything he is. We worship that as an idol. We idolize that. Does that make sense? We idolize it. Yes, Father. You know? And you got to take all your faith, because in your heart, you're hoping you're talking to a representative of God. And that is such a representative in our human life. You know, that's what an opportunity. But it's not happening. It's not who you're talking to. Yeah? And all the idol worshiping that they set you up to trigger your emotions of having been an idol worshiper, a pagan worshiper, up to, you know, how long ago? What? You know? The entire Catholic Church, is all their ceremonies, even Easter, is a pagan worship. Yeah? Even Christmas is a pagan ceremony. Yeah? And it's all based on capitalism. It sits right on top of it. Yeah? From how did we get Santa Claus? We got it from an advertisement. An advertisement. It was an advertisement for a store. And they did this poem and they wrote that up, and then they did another one, you know, with the quiet as a mouse, you know, that poem, you know, and everybody got all off on that one, you know. They had to read it every night, you know, and then they had to do the 12 days of Christmas, and oh my God, you know, can you imagine leading up to Christmas, you know, and all this bullshit, pagan, energetic energy, moving people up so that they will go out and buy on the 12th day. Work toward the last day. Oh, you got to get this one on this day, this one on this day, this one on this day. It hardly took, you know, but it certainly was the idea. Was to make sure you are giving as many presents, collecting as many presents as you possibly can by Christmas Day, because these things are going to be expected. Yeah? A big, 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 big lot of presents. And guess what? We live in America. And can you imagine how many poor people live in America? And what happened in 1932 when the stock market fell and we had a dust bowl? Did we continue Christmas? Yeah. Yeah, we did. As though that was important, you know? Continuing that process. But in reality, it was capitalism. We were programmed to think that this is what's going on. And it made us feel that if we do make money, we can go back into our culture and start providing presents and hope toward being rich again. Yeah? And attain all this glory. Delusions of glory, delusions of glamour. Yeah? And that builds up our relationship to having a Democratic Party and a Republican Party. Separation. Yeah? The whole thing is based on separation. It's just like in homosexuality. Is homosexuality based on love toward people? Is it? No. It's actually based on separating a man from a woman and getting a man to be with a man and separating a woman from a man and getting a woman to be with a woman. And that way, nobody's with anybody. Nobody's with anybody. Because all we are men and women. Yeah? So then that gets real confused, right? That's definitely confusing in itself, yeah? Because you got to be raped and molested and all that kind of stuff in order for this to take place, yeah? Seduced in the female side, molested in the male side. Can be seduced too in the male side, you know? But the outcome is the outcome. All you got to do is trigger them to have sex just once. Just once. And that's enough to program the person to thinking they initiated it. They wanted it. It was their desire body manifesting. And now they're in a complete state of confusion. They're no longer themselves. And they're creating this process of separating from their soul. Yeah? Because they were separated from their soul. And now their mind is thinking, am I a lesbian? Am I a gay guy? Yeah? Just triggering thoughts that come up and behavior. Oh, I got to act more feminine. I got to be more pretty. Oh, look how pretty I am. Yeah, I want to take advantage of that. I'm obviously gay. God created me gay. Yeah. And that creates this separation. Yeah, the whole process. You can go back to all governing bodies, all relationships of society, all the way back to Cain. Yeah, separation. Yeah. And Cain, his process in separation was lasciviousness and glamour and vices and corruption and paganism in every possible order you can think of. Yeah? And that just followed in that because there was, due to separation, all there was soullessness. Yeah? And we have symptoms everywhere. We have now LGBT. We don't just have a male gay guy who likes to tap dance and dress up, you know, and flirt with other guys, and girls who likes to tap dance and likes to wear guys' clothing and tap dance, you know. And those were the standard lesbians, you know. They would tap dance. And that's what the gay guys did. They tap dance. You got to look at this stuff. It's funnier than shit, yeah, because there really is a programming to this. It's ceremonial magic. Music, tap dancing, certain things that are done in order to create stimulation in the sacral center, the chakra of the sacral center, so that when you have sex, that stimulation down there doesn't go up. It just goes down. Yeah, it's an inverted reality. It gives you the illusion. So all of a sudden your chakras are going in the wrong direction and settling in the wrong place. Yeah, and we have far too much corruption in the world for any of us to have healthy chakras, because it's all around us. We are brothers and sisters. Yeah, and we're at the time now, we're so separate and deluded in illusion that now we're actually asking guys to go to plastic surgeons so that they can have breasts and they can take away their little weenie and make themselves into a full female. Yeah, or girls who would do the same thing and do whatever they can to create a little weenie, yeah, and take away their breasts and give themselves as much hormone, workout, beard, the whole look, yeah, and that's a transgender. That's a transgender. LGBT. That's going really far. That takes you to where what was your soul, now no longer, now it's corrupted, now it's been moved in this direction, and it moves in that direction so much and takes on the opposite identity of yourself. It's just like if you were to walk up Christ was to stand in front of, or Buddha was to stand in front of Hara, Mara. Mara would look a lot like Buddha, except that there'd be a lot of darkness in the eyes of Mara. A lot of darkness in the look of Mara. Like there's a dark shadow around Mara. But they look identical. They look identical, yeah? So it's just a matter of who you're going to be, which one you're going to be, yeah? Are you going to be who you are, or are you going to be the opposite of who you are? And what happens? Who are you when you become the opposite of who you are? Some may be just a pervert, yeah? A lascivious pervert. Some may be absolutely corrupted to the point to where they're obsessed with riches, being rich and being in a rich way, and people have to see that person as famous and rich and beautiful. Or that person just is nobody. And that means that there's nobody home. Absolutely nobody home. Yeah? And this is all made up. This whole Luciferian thing over here is all made up. And what used to be a soul doesn't exist anymore at all. Empty shell. Yeah? And we can see that. We can see that in most rock and roll stars, most people in the entertainment business. 90% of them are soulless. Don't have a soul in them. Not a soul. Yeah? It's so hard to get past any of that. Any of that. Yeah? And then you get to a place where you got Donald Trump. Yeah? And he was born into a lying family of corruption and KKK. It's like saying 666. He's born in that. His father was a KKK. Yeah? And that means that he was a Republican. Yeah? A staunch conservative. Yeah? And this is what's going on with the Republicans today.
Florida, Martinez is not alone. The Republican Party just in his county has lost more than 1,200 registrants since the insurrection. To compare, in the same time period, the Democrats have gained about 100 new registrants in the same county. And across the country, that same trend is taking shape. In the battleground state of Pennsylvania, nearly 10,000 Republicans left the party. In North...
Now, 10,000 is a lot. 10,000 is a lot. Those are votes that he wanted in order to win in Michigan. He's saying, I need 10,000 votes. Well, he just lost 10,000 Republicans in Pennsylvania. And he lost, 1,200 in the state of California. And so every state, as they're going to show you here, every state is dwindling.
Carolina, a little more than 7,400, and in Arizona, about 9,000. What's clear from the initial data is that a majority of those who switched did not swing left as a result, but moved to a no party or an independent affiliation. But for traditionally minded Republicans, the shifting numbers are still a red flag.
You can one-off that and say it's not a big deal. You can say that that's not indicative of where the party is going to go. It is. When you're losing Republican members and you're left with QAnon and Proud Boys, you've got to reassess whether or not you are even close to being a viable party.
So that party right now is only at about 42%. That means the interest of the American public is only 42% in what they're interested in. That's not a lot, where it used to be like crazy. Yeah. So imagine this process is what's going on there. Now we have Trump is, in order to change this, we have to make sure governing takes place within the court system. So what we have is corruption within the court system. You can look from police officers to judges, Judge Judy, piece of shit. Not really, not anybody. She's there, she's hired, she's an actress. It's a horrible, horrible thing. She's a mean person, should never be in that position, ever. But corruption doesn't stop there, just in some play acting being an asshole, as they naturally are. Yeah? There are enormously corrupt judges throughout the United States. Enormously corrupt political people throughout the United States. Enormously corrupt business people throughout the United States. People who, like our president, our previous president, was so corrupt, he was taking bribes. He was selling positions in the office of the presidency, selling positions. And he was caught in that. And the man who put in position, who paid $10 million for that position, is in jail now for that. Yeah? And that's not just corruption. That's some big-ass shit. And check this out. Now, we're finding, by just investigating his business, we go in and we handcuff his bookkeeper. And we take him into the police station and we say, hey, ho, is Trump lying to us, and he's not rich, and he's actually stealing tax money, and he's not putting his information out as honest as it should be, and that the things he tells everybody is 100% a lie, and the guy would go, fifth, and that fifth kept coming up until it ended, because they kept researching, and what they researched was that they went in and did bookkeeping on those books. They didn't need the bookkeeper to do that. They got other bookkeepers to do it. So they ran an entire audit on the books and found everything, every single thing, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages, every single one of them gone through. Every single bank, every single notary, every single place that said this is legal and this is what it says it is. Can that be verified? You are subpoenaed. Come in. So we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people have been subpoenaed already, been brought in, talked to the point to where not just the bookkeeper, but now the company that verifies his entire money worth, the value of his assets, the value of his everything, all that went to a larger firm that takes everything that his bookkeeper has, and he passes it on to this larger firm that then audits everything according to the information they received. And then they make a professional, nice portfolio that you walk around to banks and industries and companies and other places and you say, look at me, I'm a multi-billionaire, I own all these companies. Oh yes, my suite in there is worth $60 million. It's worth about 18 million, but 16 million or 60 million is a lot better, when it comes down to you getting more credit, getting more loans, having value, your business assets, all that. Then they found out, through the investigation in New York, they found out that none of it is true. And that not only is it not true, but the federal relationships to the tax and all the times he's made any kind of investment or any kind of dealing, there is always a state and local tax relationship that is paid at the time. So every single time he is busted on that, and he has to pay a penalty or pay the whole thing off or spend time in jail. And each one of these gets put as an illegal scenario. Not the whole thing is an illegal scenario. But did you sign this? Yes. And is this actually worth $120 million? Of course. But when it was audited just 2 weeks ago, come to find out, and in this paperwork right here that you have, that you showed other people like the tax collector, you said it was worth only 1/10 that. Which is true. Well, and his pride is going to say the highest number, which he did. He wrote a letter sending it out in prideful glee, saying, oh, they're bullshit. I'm actually a multi-billionaire and I have a lot more money than you ever. Holy crap. That means that you owe more than you can ever imagine now, and you've lied in everything, and now you're actually testifying in public, and you're going to come in and say, I take the fifth. You've already testified. It's in a letter. Yeah. So in himself, that is going to be a very bad scenario. They got two things going on. One is criminal, yeah. And one is where it's more of a, the state of New York, And in that one, you can't really do the fifth. Yeah, in criminal, you could do the fifth because you could be doing something against yourself if you say something against yourself. But in the other one, you can't really do the fifth. They're going to keep coming at you, and you have to tell them the truth because the fifth doesn't hold up. You're not going to court. You're not going to prison because of that. So you can't say the fifth. Yeah? But you can try, but it won't hold up, But it does hold up in criminal court. So every time you say the fifth, you're saying, I did it. I'm guilty. And I have no way to prove that I'm not guilty. First of all, I'm guilty. I plead the fifth. You only plead the fifth if you're guilty. Not if you're not guilty. If you're not guilty, you tell them what it is that makes you not guilty. And it's over with. Yeah? So the reason for pleading the fifth is because you're guilty. Well, in that case, they can use that against him and as a judgment. Yeah. So there are maybe 150 to 500 judgments just in the state of New York on him and his 2 children. Yeah. And this is what's going on.
Donald Trump and 2 of his children will have to sit for depositions under oath from New York's Attorney General, who is investigating the Trump Organization. That decision came down from a New York judge just a few hours ago. The Trumps have been fighting to block a subpoena from Attorney General Letitia James for documents and testimony in her investigation of the Trump Organization. But Judge Arthur Engeron said there was no question about the AG's authority to pursue this matter. This is how the judge concluded his decision, quote, a state attorney general commences investigating a business entity, uncovers copious evidence of possible financial fraud, and wants to question under oath several of the entity's principals, including its namesake. She has a clear right to do so. James is leading a civil rather than a criminal investigation into the Trump Organization for allegedly using misleading valuations to score loans and tax breaks. A separate criminal inquiry from the Manhattan DA's office is also looking at the matter. Judge Engeron said the former president, as well as Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr., need to comply within the next 3 weeks, although that could be delayed if they appeal. Today's court hearing was interesting, to say the least. This detail from the New York Times really sets the scene. Mr. Trump's lawyers became so heated that Judge Engeron and his law clerk had to call for a timeout, raising their hands in the shape of a T, a gesture more often seen at a sporting event than in a courtroom. So when things were calm, some defensive arguments were more convincing than others. For example, Trump attorney Alina Habba argued that her client is, quote, the victim of viewpoint discrimination and being targeted because of his protected class. Now, protected class actually refers to such categories as race, sex, religion, and color. It really doesn't take a law degree to understand that fact, but Judge Engeron pointed out that none of those categories describes the former president. So today's ruling just adds to the list in an eventful week for the New York AG's investigation. A filing on Monday revealed that Trump's longtime accountant, Mazars USA, cut ties with the Trump Organization and said it could no longer stand by 10 years' worth of financial statements that it had prepared for the company.
For Trump tonight, his longtime accounting firm just retracted all of the annual financial statements it prepared for him from 2011 to 2020 and cut ties with him and the Trump Organization.
The accounting firm started by writing explicitly that all of the statements of financial condition it put together with Trump to evaluate his company's financial situation should, quote, no longer be relied upon.
In a statement Tuesday, the 45th president said the Trump Organization has more than $300 million in cash and $6.3 billion in assets.
According to various reports, the former president is somewhere in the ballpark of hundreds of millions of dollars in debt.
was my experience that Mr. Trump inflated his total assets when it served his purposes.
Go tonight. Let's call it a trip down memory lane. Here's the email that Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort received 11 days after the 2016 election from a Chicago banker. Subject, quote, Stephen M. Kalk, candidate for SEC Army. The attachment says, quote, prospective roles in the Trump administration in rank order. Yes, that is roles, as in job functions, and not the things into which I put my chicken salad. He goes on to list them, quote, 1, Secretary of the Army, 2, Deputy Secretary of Treasury, 3, Secretary of Commerce. That email about Stephen Kalk, by the way, was from Stephen Kalk, this guy, the former CEO of a Midwestern bank called the Federal Savings Bank. And that was not any ordinary pitch email from someone trying to curry favor with the incoming administration. It was, in fact, a bribe. You see, in July of 2016, Paul Manafort, who was at the time Trump's campaign manager, came to Stephen Kalk's bank seeking a multi-million-dollar loan. The one glaring problem was that Manafort had a lot of red flags on his financials. He was deep in debt, he had multiple properties facing foreclosure, and he needed the money, and he needed it fast. So he struck a deal with Kalk. Kalk ignored the red flags on Manafort's financials and ended up securing Manafort 2 loans totaling a whopping $16 million. Days after approving the first loan for Manafort, Kalk was appointed to the Trump campaign's Economic Advisory Council. When Manafort needed that multi-million-dollar second loan, this time Kalk approved it and shortly thereafter sent Manafort a list of administration jobs that he wanted. Manafort did end up getting Kalk an interview in Trump Tower for Undersecretary of the Army, but Kalk never got the job. He did eventually get indicted for that scheme by federal prosecutors in New York City. He was convicted in July of financial institution bribery and conspiracy, and yesterday, nearly 6 years after the start of that bribery scheme, Kalk was finally sentenced. The Department of Justice aptly puts the news in its headline announcing the news, quote, bank CEO Stephen M. Kalk sentenced to 1 year and 1 day for corruptly soliciting a presidential administration position in exchange for approving $16 million in loan.
Okay, so changes are happening. Yeah, this is really good. That's really good. Yeah, because this is hard. You have no idea. Breaking down capitalism it has to do with consciousness. And if we're not conscious, we're not going to make a conscious decision. That when we have the opportunity, when we're so lucky and blessed that someone wants us to do something and we're going to get paid an enormous amount of money for it, and we need people to pull it off. Yeah. And when that opportunity comes and we're not willing to share that process and make that, a real sharing reality, then this corruption comes out. Immediately, it jerks right out of our body. And we make decisions and say things and do things. And we're part of it. We're just part of it. And we're channeling. And we have to make our decisions differently. Yeah. And it's all going to happen because everybody's getting a soul. Yeah. With a soul, this is what you do. Without a soul, this is what you do. That's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And when you don't have Christ in the world, and I'm not out in the world running around telling everybody I'm Jesus Christ, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. There needs to be me walking around, facing people, looking at people, talking to people, telling them who I am, because I'm the only one that could do that. Yeah, I'm the only one that can make the biggest difference. But first, I had to clean a lot of evil, corrupt processes and back a whole lot of great opportunity situations that would be better for the world, and do that over the last 20 or 30 years. So now we're all in a position to where we're ready for Jesus, and within the next, I think, 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be changing my name again, and it's Jesus. Yeah, it's the only name I'm going to have, from here on out. That way when my next incarnation comes and I'm recognized by Tibetans and all that, then when I come, it'll be easier for everybody, because the reason why they know me, is that as Jesus, I went to Hemet, and I met a bunch of monks and lamas, and I was only about 19, 20 years old. And I went in and I studied and I figured it out faster than anybody else. And they thought for sure I was the Buddha, that I had to be the Buddha. There's no other way. And that wasn't what I wanted to say. It wasn't what I wanted to come out and tell people. Buddha was, but I'm going to be Christ. Big diff, you know? So let me go back and take care of that, you know, and do that. And that meant that had to clear a whole lot of ancient history that goes back to the Lord himself. The Lord himself. No other, nothing else. Not Buddha, not Shiva, not Brahma, no nothing. Just the Lord himself. And if you look at the Bible, you go back to the time of Genesis, and you'll see it's just the Lord himself. Just the Lord. He created everything. Yeah. There was no assistant, no nothing. Yeah. It was the Lord that did that. Yeah. And then the Lord makes manifest the earth, makes manifest the heavens, makes manifest life, makes manifest animals, ocean, trees, all the animals in the ocean, makes manifest Adam, yeah, makes manifest Eve, yeah. And in that process, it's always just the Lord. There's the Lord still walking around, yeah, and there's Adam and Eve, yeah. But there's the Lord. Yeah. And they go through a process to where, you know, they begin channeling Lucifer. And they make a decision that is not the correct decision. Just like if you had the opportunity and you make a whole lot of money, are you going to keep it and hold it for yourself? Or are you going to realize where it comes from and not grab it? Let it go. Let it flow. Let it be the opportunity of everybody. Yeah, it's something that's not seen during and from the fall. You know, because immediately they felt guilt. They felt, oh no, you see me nude. Oh no, I put the leaves in front of me. Oh no, I was afraid I heard your voice. You know, that's what's said right after their fall. That's what they said. You know, that's what they said to the Lord, because the Lord made them feel that way. Yeah. So the Lord himself has to work out the relationship between humanity and the Lord. Yeah. And humanity is in this place where I'm talking about. They're capitalist. That's what happened to Eve. That's what happened. That's what happened to Cain. That's why he killed his brother. Because he was jealous. He was envious. He capitalized on what was right, what was wrong, who's the winner. Yeah, that is the essence of capitalism. Yeah. You know, just it does all the wrong, and we have no idea what wrong really is. But I'm telling you, the soul will do right, and a soullessness will do wrong, and it is only a symptom. And as the Lord, that's the way I see things. That's how forgiveness works, because I see things this way. I don't see it as though people did anything wrong. I see it as though everything is wrong. And it all needs to be fixed. And it comes down to Satan. Yeah. And here we have the Antichrist walking on earth. He was your president for 4 years. He ripped you off and lied to you every single day, woke up every single morning and lied to you. He brought his family and became the President of the United States and ruled the United States of America through his family, through his stupid daughter, who had no qualifications other than putting on shoes. That's it. Put a dress on, put on shoes, comb her straight long hair, you know, keep her diet, you know, got to keep that figure because she's got, what is that next to her? Yeah, same thing. Elemental perfection. Yeah. What happens when you're a witch and a warlock and you do everything for capitalism? Capitalism means that you're going to make sure that you have the makeup, you have the hairdresser, you have all these things, because you're going to capitalize on all the opportunities to make you unaging, you perfect, you an angel, a perfect embodiment of God. whether it be male or female. And that happens in every area of delusions of glamour. In every area, it's that way, you know? And just by nature, a healthy person is beautiful. Just by nature, a healthy person who eats just right has a glowing skin. Just by nature, a healthy person that is kind to other people has a lovely smile on their face and their wrinkles don't hang down. We always say it's due to gravity, but it's not. It's frowns. Frowns. Frown lines. Yeah. Don't do that. Your mouth should be going up rather than down. Yeah. After a while, you know, we all get this weird looking mouth. Hi, I'm a 90. You know? It happens, you know, gravity, you know. No, it's not gravity, man. It's an asshole. So look at me. You've been an asshole a long time. Now you look like an old asshole. Yeah? And you don't want to look like an old asshole. Yeah? And you know that Ivanka and her husband is doing everything 24/7 thinking, do I look like an old asshole yet? 24/7. Just like, you know, Melania, she's in the she wakes up probably in a spa bed. And then some dainty little thing comes in, you know, and wipes her toes and wipes her hands, wipes her face, you know, says, that's your shower. Now, let me just, can you roll over? Oh, never mind, you don't need to. I'll push this button. The whole thing rolls you over. You know, that's the kind of life she lives. She lives the life of a spa. She is going to die under the illusion that she is the number one lady in the world. Like imagine she's in a beauty contest. Well, she's a model. And she's not an average model. No, she's a sex model. Isn't that great? Our president's wife was a sex model who used to love to do spreads with no clothes on, and, you know, and aboard the plane, in the limousine, in magazines, you know. Yeah. And because of our situation with idolizing idols, we idolize people. It's true. Because when you make an idol, to look more perfect than normal. And it triggers your brain to go weird. You go weird and you start thinking, oh, that's perfection. That's beauty. That's what beauty is. And beauty is not that. Yeah? Beauty is in flowers and symmetry and all of that. But, you know, so is there a dirt road, and so is there rocks, and, you know, and so is there trees of different levels and kinds and all kinds of things that seem not to be perfectly symmetrical, like an English garden, you know. And that's where we go when we go into the glamours. We think in the same terms, that we've got to do to ourselves what you would do to an English garden, rather than having just a nice lawn, you know, with trees and, you know, maybe, I don't know, but not an English garden with all the shrubs and all the things that are all just, everything just perfect, you know. You know, that's not nature. That's not the soul. You know, you lose your soul when you walk into those places. You know, you start thinking fairy shit because it's so perfect. Just like idolizing a statue. You start thinking fairy shit. You start thinking certain kinds of gods are available. And, you know, you could do all kinds, and then because you are psychic, psychokinetic, you can put energy of your own desire body into something, and it will come back at you as a spirit. That's Satanism. That's witchcraft. Yeah? And it's gone on for so long. It's all part of why we make the dollar the way we make it, why a coin is a coin, why it's silvery, and why it has these people on it, because they're idols. All coins have to have an idol on it because it triggers something in us that allows us to go along with capitalism. Yeah, it's a programming process. We have no idea. But what does that lead us to? It leads us to prejudice. Just another level of lower mind to where we'll enslave people. We'll call people monkeys because they have similarity. And why? Because we look at statues and we idolize a statue and we can't see the truth that it's just a freaking rock carved out to look like somebody, you know? And we think in that, in a illusion way. We put that upon, in a negative way, ignorant way, we put that upon a black person in Africa standing next to a monkey. And we go, oh, what great similarities. And as us, as human beings, maybe we evolved from monkeys. And really, we see that because we're idol worshippers. You know? We deluded our mind and deluded ourselves because we can't be friendly to our brothers and sisters. We have to do this thing to where, oh, I'm going to make $5,000. Well, I'll hire you for $50. And you don't tell them you made $5,000. Watch movies, read books and shit. It's all in it. It's all about that. And that, you lose your soul. You get angry. Yeah, you get desperate because you trusted. You thought they were honest, reputable beings, and they're not. They're mean, they're corruptible, and they're ruining your life. They're keeping you down. And that gets to you after a while. And we behave the way we do today. And that's how we see people different. That's why we don't like certain races of people. We get a spontaneous, knee-jerk reaction to it. And the worst kind is KKK. And we'll do the same thing, KKK, to Japanese, Chinese, Africans, anybody who's absolutely different. Mexicans, we'll put a bill order and then we'll hang them, you know, if they get over the other side. You know, come on. Yeah? So I'm asking for change. Yeah? This is about soul. And if soul does work, and soul does exist, and all things doesn't exactly verify the fact that there's a soul, and it's important. What if we can actually attain our soul? Wouldn't that be just an absolute wonder? But the symptom of it would be that we would get rid of the KKK. We would not have that symptom. Well, do we have that symptom? How do we treat a white person with a black person? What happens if there's a white person and a black person fighting? Let's say they're only 17 years old, so it's not an adult, you know, where you can jump to conclusions, because that's what we do. We jump to conclusions. We assume. That's really evil stuff. Really evil. You give nobody a chance. Give nobody a chance by not having a conscious mind that has the ability to respond truthfully for what's going on. But when judgment comes in, you know, you have a black kid and you have a white kid and they're fighting. Yeah? What happens? You go in, cops come, they grab them. How do they treat them? Well, let's check it out.
Accusations of racial bias by police after they broke up a fight between a pair of teenagers, one black, one white, at a New Jersey mall. A now viral video shows the teens having a heated discussion. The white teen pointing his finger in the face of the black teen, who pushes the white teen's hand away. The white teen then shoves the black teen, and the two begin to tussle.
Now, what was going on, before we get further, what was going on was that the black kid, there was a much younger kid, you know, maybe around 10 or 11, who's being bullied by these other kids. The one that's pushing this guy now. And it was a group of about 3 or 4 of them. And they were really treating these black kids very badly. Yeah. So the oldest of the kids stands up. And he doesn't want to because the other guy is strong and big and he doesn't want to fight, you know, but he's going to defend the poor little kid. Yeah. So that's all he's doing. He's asking him to leave him alone. And the white kid is screaming at the black guy, little young guy, that you don't have a right to tell me what to do. You know, just like people today say, you don't have a right to tell me to put a mask on. You don't have a right to tell me not to bring this gun to school. You don't have a right. Yeah. Yeah. So this continues on. See what happens. And we know this happened to Floyd. It happens all the time. But really take a look at this and realize this is our nature, and it needs to not be.
At one point, the white teen tackling the black teen and pinning him to a couch, then throwing him to the ground.
No.
When police arrive to break up the fight, a female officer pulls the white teen away and pushes him to the couch without handcuffs, while the other officer presses the black teen to the ground and kneels on his back. The female officer also coming over to kneel on the teen's upper back while they place him, and only him, in handcuffs.
Oh no! Holy!
Treatment some viewed as unequal, unfair, and racially biased.
And the white
One
kid just
bystander
stands up
screaming
as though he
surprised as
feels,
police handcuff the
I'm
black teen.
untouchable.
Yo, it's because he's black.
CNN affiliate
I'm just like
WCBS
the
spoke with
cops.
one of the teens involved, 14-year-old Kai, who asked that his last name not be used.
I was confused, why they saw me as a bad person.
How sweet can you get?
Me as a aggressive.
The 8th grader telling CNN affiliate WABC the fight began after he stood up for a friend, a 7th grader, being picked on by the other teen, who the station identifies as a high school student. The teen calling the encounter with police scary and frustrating.
If they don't know how to treat the situation and deal with the situation equally and fairly, then they shouldn't be able to deal with the situation at all.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy saying,
I'm deeply disturbed by what appears to be a racially disparate treatment in the video. We are underscore with emphasis that we're committed to increasing the trust between law enforcement on the one hand and the communities they serve on the other.
The NAACP New Jersey State Conference calling for the officers involved to be removed from the force pending an investigation, and saying despite years of talk about bias training and accountability, when Bridgewater police found 2 youths fighting, the immediate reaction was to aggressively throw the black child to the ground. At the same time, the white youth was carefully eased onto a couch and treated like a victim.
Welcome to America, huh? Yeah. I don't care where you're at. You're better off not black. You're better off not Mexican. And you're better off not a poor-looking Asian person. Yeah. You'll be stereotyped. Yeah. They'll stigmatize you. They'll justify their anger. Yeah. Some will come up to you and say you don't even belong here. If you're Asian, with Trump going around saying China created this, there were so many Asian elderly people being beaten up and told that they do not belong in America. Imagine that. I mean, that's what happens when you're in the capitalist situation and you're ripping people off and you're accepting that and you're getting some, or maybe you're not getting any, and you're angry too. And this all starts coming out. It's all soulless. Anger, personality. And each person's got a different personality. So it leads to extreme chaos. Now when it comes down to the soul, each person has a uniquely quality within their soul that allows them to have similarities rather than extreme differences. Yeah? But it is like a Holy Spirit inside of us that gives us this sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, and we can see beauty in someone. Yeah? You see right past the skin. You can't see the skin. You could see the beauty. You know? And black is beautiful, people. Brown is beautiful. Yeah? Asian is gorgeous. Yeah? All those things actually have beauty. And we're missing it. We're missing it. You know? We just go, oh man, what you're gonna have sombrero and you're gonna just sleep at noon and not get up until 4, and all these stereotypes, and we miss the beauty. And what are they gonna do? They're just gonna feel terrible. They wanna hide. They're gonna think you're gonna seek the police on them because you lie. You're two-faced. You hire them to come into your house. You hire them to take care of your kids. You hire them to wash your dishes. But they know deep inside, you bust them and send them off back to Mexico. If you did anything wrong, they'd use that against you. It's terrible. Yeah? That's not our nature. It's not our nature. Yeah? And we're all going through it. Immigrants are traveling everywhere and they can't live in the land that they're from. They're going all over Europe. They're going all over everywhere, and they're trying to find places that could be home, you know. They don't want to be where they're from. They want to start a new life. And they can't because they're immigrants and we're so prejudiced. And many countries still have capitalism going on. And they can't afford to bring migrants into their country because the borders in another country is completely shut down, and now it all just fills up into your country, and you're afraid that that's what's going to happen. Yeah, because there's leftover capitalism going on still in the world in large ways. China is incredibly capitalistic. England is beyond capitalistic. They're so major capitalistic. Capitalistic, if you still have a king, you're in the hierarchy of capitalism. The hierarchy. That, if you look at what capitalism is, on the top is a freaking king, the richest person. Now, if it's a president, they make supposedly $150,000 to $200,000 a year in their office as president. Well, not a king. Not a king. They can own 60, 30, 40, 10%, but as much as 60% of the planet Earth. And that's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in a little bitty country called Europe, or England, or, Copenhagen. Denmark has more countries, Iceland, Greenland, all these different things that are their country. Yeah, we have places that we have the Dominican Republic. We have these different places that we give sovereignty to keep them protected, but we don't give them rights. Yet we do this, and they have to pay us in taxes and whatever. We benefit from this process, but they don't benefit from us because we're capitalists. We don't allow them to actually be a state and benefit. It sucks. Yeah? So that capitalist process is destroying the world, and it's keeping other nations from growing and doing what they need to be doing. It allows China to go to Africa and steal all the gold and diamonds and ore and minerals and everything at the lowest possible price and pay nothing wage to the people and get away with it. Why? Heartlessness, soullessness. Yeah. So I have to heal. We have to heal soullessness. It's most important. All right. So let's pray. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. To this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So in this invocation, I'm going to just share one thing. The process where I mentioned before the Lord in the Bible, in the beginning of the Bible, the Lord is walking around the garden and Adam and Eve is hanging around doing what they're doing. And when they do wrong, the Lord is now made separate. It's not Adam and Eve that's made separate. It's the Lord. And the Lord explains that to him. Do you understand what you just did? You separated me from this earth, from all the land. Yeah. And my beingness was to make you who you are. Make you who you are. But now you're on your own and making you who you think you are. And you will be on the ground, on your belly, on the ground. And you will live off the herbs, and you will live off the fruit, and you will live off the things from the ground. And things above you, animals and stuff like that, will actually be above you. And you'll be under their fear, their anger, their hostility. They'll chase you. You'll not be happy. And woman, your situation is that you will not be happy when you have children, and you will have a lot of them, and they will continue coming, and it will not bring happiness to you, because everything that's happening is coming out of this curse, and the Lord is the one who's cursed. Even though all of humanity gets cursed, the Lord is the one who's separated from the earth, right? Completely separated. So if you study the Bible further, you'll study that he starts expressing that 7 of his rays leave the earth, one at a time. And that's him leaving the earth to where he cannot be seen, felt, or experienced on earth, anywhere. Just by only telepathically, only by blessing, only by appearance, because of omnipresence and omniscience and omniessence, but only to the extreme few and rare opportunities that it would happen. Yeah, extreme. And this is in the Bible. This points us out in the Bible. He's nowhere. We don't even know his name anymore. All we know is his name is Yodebode or Yahweh, something like that. But we have to call him the Lord, because he is the only Lord. And we lost him. We lost the Lord. The Lord left. And left us with Satan and Lucifer inside of humanity. And the burden that came on with Cain. And all of humanity comes out of Cain. All the Jews come from Cain. Moses is a line of lineage from Cain. Not Abel. Abel didn't live. It would be from Cain. So everything we have that we know comes out of Cain. Comes out of that fall. Separate from the Lord being on earth. The Lord was extracted from earth. You got to think about that, because then you read that Bible and it says, and the Lord will return. The Lord will come, and he'll be known as Jesus. And he'll come and he'll manifest and he'll do what he does according to what the Lord says he will do. Because this is the Lord incarnating. Because in all sense, the Lord was killed. He was just like you. When you die, you go to heaven. In his case, when he dies, he goes to heaven. And now he has to have a reason to come back. There's a lot of time between then and then. Here's the Lord here in the beginning. And you don't see the Lord all the way through the Bible until the coming of Jesus Christ. And everybody's like, well, he must be the Son. And he is. But he is the Lord. He is the Lord. He's the same Lord that was standing there with Adam and Eve. He's the same Lord who was put on a cross. Why? For the same reason he was put on a cross during the time of Adam and Eve. It's the same Lord. He had the same circumstance. They killed him then. They kill him again. And then they say there's a second coming. Because we're being shown that there is a Lord, a singular Lord, and his name is Jesus. No name in the beginning. He comes, gets a name. Comes out of prophecy, comes from the Lord, comes through the disciples of the Lord. Many of the different prophets that come through, ancient disciples that would lay out some of the Bible. They would say, these are the coming of the Lord. These are the signs of the coming of the Lord. The Lord. Not a demigod, not anything but the Lord. And it's the same Lord that used to be walking on earth before this place became what it is, under Lucifer's control. Yeah. So the Lord has to abolish all of this or cannot walk on this earth. That, I hope everybody's kind of clear with that. That's why Jesus had to go on a cross, because there was no way he could walk amongst those people. So when he returned, he goes directly into a valley of Tibet and sits in a monastery for a long time and recapitulates the Lord. And in that monastery, there's truths that go back in the history of ancient Bible text. You know, not just Buddhism, not just Hinduism, things like that, but true God, true spiritual myth and mystery. And it's written by great prophets. And in that place, that was there. Yeah, so he got that. And that gave him the strength to go back to Jerusalem. Yeah, go back to Jerusalem, knowing that he was going to die on a cross. There wasn't really a lot of knowledge everywhere else saying that he was going to go die on a cross. He had to go back to Jerusalem. He had to go through this experience to save humanity. He read that. He understood that. He accepted that. That's what the Lord will do. He'll go. He has no other purpose other than destiny. And the Lord actually gets moved by destiny. You know? So he shows back up, you know, and within 3 years manifests the destiny that he was supposed to fulfill. And then he goes right back to that same area and lives out the rest of his life teaching theologians. And it's hard for anybody to understand that Jesus would have done that. But Jesus needed to prepare the way for the next 2,000 years. So that over those 2,000 years, people could start learning morals and ethics and battle within themselves their lack of soul in an area where there is more lack of soul than any other place in the planet, Tibet. More demons, more lack of souls, more lore. All you know about warlocks and witches come from Tibet. The origin of it comes from that. If there was a Cain original, he'd be hanging out in Tibet with Tibetans on the evil side. You know? And there are always these beings that come. They don't go away. They keep reincarnating, you know? And they end up in very evil places. And Tibet was found to be the most evil places on earth. Not the place the Dalai Lama tells you about, not the place Tibetans tell you about, but the place of reality, the place where demons sit because they're conjured up and they're manifested into physical objects. And it becomes everything in the world. You see pyramids, you see all this stuff being built, it's all coming out of certain psychic awarenesses. Yeah. And all those things died about 10 to 15 to 20,000 years ago. That awareness was gone. Something came and destroyed it. Consciousness completely wiped it away, you know. And the Bond Society was just getting started, getting strong. They were even before Gautama Buddha. Yeah. You know, so everything depends on the Lord. It's not about a bunch of demigods or even the history of anything. Because the history of everything could be, maybe be true. Yeah? But what is true is now. Right here and now. When Jesus was alive, that was the truth. That was the now. And that's why all time is committed to that point in time. Because that's where the truth sat. So from that point on, we know time. And we can say, this is what time it is. What year it is, all of that, committed by a truth. Yeah? And then in the second coming, it comes as Alpha Omega, it comes to formulate, draw all that truth up to a point and wipe out capitalism. Wipe out soullessness, because capitalism is a symptom. of soullessness. Yeah? And it'll be just wiped out. I'm wiping out this stuff. And it's not as hard as you think. It takes invocations, evocations, but you need to understand this has to become simple. You have to understand this isn't about, I take the name Buddha Maitreya because Maitreya means kindness, and I am that. Yeah? And when I was Jesus and was at Hemis, and I spoke with all these Tibetans, that's who I was recognized as the future Buddha Maitreya. Yeah? And understanding what the Christ is, the Christ office is, and my life as Jesus. All of that was better understood when I went into that temple. And I studied for years and years and years. Yeah? But it took a long time for that to come into fruition, and then that literally takes 2,000 years for it to manifest in fullness. Yeah, because even though, I agreed with Tibetan Buddhism, I agreed with Buddhism, I agreed with the teaching presence on earth, but that was to raise the consciousness of the soul, the bodhisattva, quality of the soul, that I recognized to be part of the truth. Yeah? So by furthering that teaching, and then having emanations one after another, that would then go through Tibetan Buddhism and make sure those morals and ethics were tried out in my body and then vanquished in my body. And then that would be the end of that life. But I was a reformer. I would take what couldn't be reformed, couldn't be moved forward and understood. It would be stuck in a delusion. And I would jump right on top of that, and I would take all of that in, and I'd say, yes, but if you look at it this way, it's very different. And it's much simpler from over here, So I created virtues, I created the relationship of going into, not by merit, by buying things or by giving things, but by virtue. Yeah, changing your inner subconscious reality to be equal to that of your higher conscious reality. So your bodhisattva awakens. So those teachings I developed in there. And that's what gets us to this, where we're at today. Because we're all in a state of recapitulation, because with my reincarnating, I'm not just reincarnating my name as Jesus Christ, but I'm reincarnating my presence as the teacher who teaches people these practices that gives us a soul. Where if you study Tibetan Buddhism, they'll say there is no soul. If you study Buddhism, they'll say there is no soul. So only Buddha knows what's really real, and there is a soul. And it's important. If we think there is no soul, just imagine where you're at, You're on the opposite end. You're standing with Lucifer, got you to agree there is no soul. Well, that's where I stood in Buddhism. All of them thought there was no soul because they didn't have a high enough teaching to tell them about the soul. Yeah? So now we're at that place with those 2,000 years past and recapitulation in the air. We can overthrow all of this in less than 5 years by this process of me externalizing. So I'm going to begin doing a darshan here in, I think it's March 21st? April 24th, yeah. And that's the Orthodox Easter. And then I'll be doing darshan in Omaha. And when is that? March, April, May, June? You remember dates? It'll get out there. But we're doing that one in Omaha. And then after that, we're going to go to Glastonbury. And we're going to do a darshan in Glastonbury, and I think it's right after Omaha, June, July, August, yeah, it's in August. Yeah, we're hoping to be able to go to Texas, and that would be in June. And if not Texas, then we're going to go to LA, and we'll do a darshan there. Hopefully 50 or more people, yeah. And then we're going to go to UK, and from UK, we're going to go to Nepal. So we're doing a group to Nepal. The number is around 30 people. If you can if you can get it together and go for that, do it, because it's well worth it. And we could use the people coming, because a lot of that is the process of bringing Jesus to Nepal is a really big thing. Yeah, they came all the way to my house when I was a kid to bring Jesus to Nepal, and I, before anybody ever came to me, I knew I was Jesus, as a baby, so they can come and say anything they want, but all I have to say is that, yeah, I'm Jesus. I don't understand your language, but I hope you're saying that I'm Jesus, because, yeah, I'm Jesus, and when I got into Tibetan Buddhism, that was the first thing I did, was I declared the reality that I'm the reincarnation of Jesus, and I hope that's who you're looking for, because that's who I am. And I believe that you're looking for Maitreya, who is Jesus, but that's not, who you may be looking for. So there was a lot of quandary in the process of trying to get Buddhists into recognizing Jesus in any way, shape, or form. It's quite a dilemma, and it still is, because I've got to go back to Tibet. I have the monasteries that I built, all that I'm doing in Lumbini and everything, and they want to see me Maitreya, and they all have, I'm a big Maitreya thing, and so I'm very honored in that, but I have to come out as Jesus, because I can't save anybody unless I'm the Lord. And Maitreya means kindness. That's not enough emphasis on the Lord, to make a difference in humanity. I'm a kind guy. That doesn't, to me, that doesn't quite make it, And there is a Lord of this world, and it's Lucifer. It's not Jesus. And Jesus is destined. He was always the Lord of this world. Always. Yeah. It's not a matter of, you gotta vote for him or hire him or pray to him more than you do Lucifer. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. Because God is the all-encompassing reality, and Lucifer doesn't know this. And I don't stop. And I'm here. This is the incarnation that I drop kick Lucifer, and end his reign of ever being on this planet. And every aspect of what makes people corrupt and have those thoughts of taking advantage of another human being will leave this planet. It's not a part of another, it's any human being. No human being has that in their mind. They do not have, let alone killing, getting a gun, going to war, all those things. But it all starts first in a corrupt heart. When you're greedy and you hoard and you don't share, you can't do this. Yeah? All right? So now, let's pray. Just close your eyes.
seven rays to raise the senses of humanity, expressed as the soul. I invoke the sense of hearing in the seventh ray, hearing the word of God, the word of power, sense of touch, and the first ray as the finger of God. I invoke the sense of sight as the third ray, as the eye of God. I invoke the sense of taste as the sixth ray, as the desire of all the nations. I invoke the sense of smell as the fourth ray, the beauty of revelation. Of intellect as the fifth ray, as the knowledge of God. I invoke the sense of intuition as the second ray, the understanding of God. I call upon the synthesis of the seven rays to be expressed through your personality. As the first ray of ideas, the mental body, the purpose, your life. Ideals, the astral body, and your quality. The third ray of idols, your physical body and your form. The fourth ray of the fourth kingdom, of humanity in balance. The fifth ray, the third kingdom, the animals. The sixth ray, the second kingdom, vegetables. The seventh ray, the first kingdom, minerals. I call upon the relationships of all the kingdoms to penetrate the personality of humanity and express its collective soul. Seventh ray and the fourth ray as the mineral kingdom. The second ray, the fourth ray, and the sixth ray as the the animal kingdom. The fourth ray and the fifth ray as the human kingdom. The fifth ray and the second ray as the egoic soul. The sixth ray and the third ray as planetary lives. The first ray and the seventh ray as solar lives. Integrate the egoic ray and the personality ray of each nation, and to express its true expression, to make manifest peace on earth as one living body of God. I call upon India to bring forth its fourth ray of personality, integrate its first ray of soul to manifest the hidden light. I invoke China to bring forth its third ray personality, to integrate its egoic soul into its first ray, to manifest as the indication of the way. I invoke Germany to bring forth its first ray of personality, to integrate its egoic soul of fourth ray, to preserve the truth. I invoke France and its third ray personality, to integrate its fifth ray of egoic soul, to release the light. I invoke Great Britain and its first ray personality, and its second ray egoic soul, to bring forth its service. I invoke Italy and its fourth ray personality, to integrate its sixth ray soul, to carve the two paths. I invoke the United States and its sixth ray personality, to integrate its second ray soul, to light the way. I invoke Russia and its sixth ray personality, to integrate its seventh ray soul, to link the two ways. I invoke Australia and its fifth ray personality, to integrate its fourth ray soul and serve the lighted way. I invoke Spain and its seventh ray personality, to integrate its sixth ray soul, to disperse the clouds. zeal, and its second-ray personality to integrate its fourth-ray soul to hide the seed. I invoke the entity of this planet, the planetary logos, to incarnate the life and the beingness of this planet. I invoke the expression of the second-ray force into both the personality and the egoic rays of the nation, and the personality of the egoic ray of humanity, to fuse itself and its light into its healing process. I invoke the esoteric law of solar energy to make manifest the cosmic force of light, love, and peace.
Okay, just relax and open your eyes. So, it's important that I know everybody has so many different religions, and I understand that, you know, but, you know, I'm the Lord. And Jesus, you know, and the incarnation of Jesus, the reason going on the cross, having disciples, fulfilling the prophetic lineage that comes all the way from Adam and Eve, means that the influence that comes from the Lord passed through that lineage, because that was his family. Those were his connections. Yeah. So when I came amongst that opportunity for that group to receive me and have it reach very high qualities within all of humanity, because all of humanity is connected to Cain. Yeah, the flood happened, the destruction happened, but even the people who were on that boat were children of Cain, because Abel didn't live and Cain did. So it's the children that come from there, the children that came after, you know, that are all of humanity. And even after the flood, those who were then generated after that are still that relationship. Yeah, so the Lord has an actual clean influence to this earth. Yeah, and it's not like I'm you know, here battling through this process on a day-to-day basis, I'm here during cycles, and in lesser emanations. Do I help? But not as the Lord. All of them are as disciplic, Buddhist, Bodhisattva influences that are relationships to the Lord, to help better everybody's relationship to the Lord. But this is the time of the second coming. And there was the first coming, and that was the only coming. He was the only Lord, the only Messiah. Yeah? And I'm that same person. No different. It's not like I went from that and then reincarnated from that into a new incarnation. Didn't happen. It's actually the same incarnation. As strange as it may seem, me sitting here, I'm 70 years old, I did incarnate in 1951 and all that, but the reality is that I incarnated exactly as the exact same being as Jesus incarnated. So there's no, it's the same being, it's the Lord. There's only one Lord. I don't come from a million different incarnations. I come from one incarnation. Yeah? And so that's why it's important that you don't do idol worship. Yeah? Because you will have connections to demigods that are of lesser teachings and will facilitate false prophecy. And it will not end up into relationships where you're with the Lord. So over the next couple of years, I'm teaching out the process of certain religions, yeah, and dispelling them, yeah, and you'll no longer see them around me. Right now, they're around me because I'm dispelling them. Nothing wrong with them. It's just that they are a lesser consciousness, and the soul has no lesser consciousness. The soul is a direct relationship. This is about a relationship with the Lord. It's not about you taking initiations. It's not about you taking some metaphysical change in your chakras or anything like that. You're going to get that through the blessings of the Lord. I show you images of what healthy chakras look like and unhealthy chakras look like. But it has nothing to do with me initiating you to get Kundalini. It has to do with rebirth. You being reborn. You're not the person you think you are. You're not. And I'm totally serious about that. And me, as the Lord, I can make that change. I can forgive you for becoming a fake, for becoming the person you're not, and creating your own curse, and creating your own terrible, many people call it karma. I just call it life. The shit you've gone through in life wears you down and gives you false impressions when you're starving to death and when you're totally crying over the loss of your child. You cannot get out of it in that life. And it carries over to your next life, and you can have so many lives. It's the Lord's work is to heal you, to be in the moment, and no longer have those processes, no longer have that opportunity to have an alternative self that could be the bad person whenever you want, or be the good person if you feel like it. You're always a good person. You're never a bad person. You should have nothing in you that goes against your brothers and sisters. Nothing. You should want to lift them up. Yeah? We shouldn't be in this situation. We should all be helping each other and sharing kindly to each other, yeah, and bringing this place into a place to where we're not under the influence of Lucifer. You don't even know you're in it. You don't even know you're in a pagan reality. All your days, your Fridays, your Saturdays, your Sundays are pagan days. They're just days, people. How do you know the difference between a Sunday and a Monday, huh? You're pagan, that's all. There are no differences of days. None. Zero. They're just days. They're all the same days. But as a capitalist, it's important to be able to know 7 days a week so you can work 40-hour weeks and we can break it down into a capitalistic, God in the machine bullshit thing. And, we're so obligated, it's ridiculous. And we're so burdened by our obligations, it's beyond belief. So it is my work that is to forgive you in that process of taking those influences, those belief systems, and not treating people correctly. For whatever reason that happened. And it's still happening, but you're getting healed. It's happening less, yeah? So continue your prayers, enjoy your pujas. Please attend the darshans. Help other people attend the darshans. They're really big. Over the next couple of years, the only thing I'm going to come out as is Jesus. And everybody is going to become a Christian. Not in the way you think a Christian is, but in the way you deal with the Lord. And you know the Lord is on earth. And I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. And now we're going to live our life of brotherhood and sisterhood, kindness and love. Yeah? Sound good? All right. Thank you very much.